Welcome to Conscious Conversations. I'm Christine Marie,
And I'm Charley Zhang.
and this is our Soulful Dialogue series, where two soul sisters come together each month to share what's alive in our hearts and explore the beautiful messiness of being human.
Through intimate, unscripted conversations, we dive into questions both big and small around self-discovery, spiritual growth, and awakening the medicine that lives within each of us to create a more conscious and compassionate world.
We're here to bridge ancient wisdom with raw vulnerability, the sacred with the everyday. So settle in, open your heart, and welcome to the journey.
All right, and we're live.
Oh my gosh.
So
It's good to be here.
it is good to be here, and it was good to get some of those giggles out, and we got a little bit of a wiggle in. So yeah, it's nice to enter the space with a little bit of playfulness and levity. But so happy to see you. How's it going?
Yeah. It's been a whole 48 hours since we've been together.
Yeah.
So much has happened.
A lot has happened. Yeah, it's been a big week. And I think that we're still very much sitting in the energy of that big week. And the word that came up for us most naturally was success. And so that really became the inspiration for what we wanted to explore in this conversation. And I had this idea that maybe we might start a little bit differently. And instead of setting up the conversation in our usual way, opening up with context and sort of summarizing where we want to take the conversation, I thought that we might actually do something that's a little bit more somatic and just see what wants to naturally arise and build the conversation from there. How does that sound to you?
I'm down. Let's do it.
Okay.
I like variety, so you picked a great co-host.
I did. There was a reason why we came together. So
Always.
yeah. And so this isn't going to be a very long exercise at all, but I will gently invite you to just take a moment to take a couple of breaths with me and just start to turn your attention inward and start to get mindful and just check in with your core and see if you can get just a little bit more still. In a moment, I want to offer a statement to you. And the way that I like to think about it is sort of like a ripple in the pond. So your only job is just to notice what gets evoked or what happens when you hear the statement. Does that sound okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. And so just let me know whenever you're ready to hear me speak.
I'm ready.
Okay. So notice what happens in your body as you hear me say the words, I see how successful you are. I see how successful you are.
Yeah, I already feel like a buzzing in my throat.
Yeah.
And this, like the initial wave felt like, it felt like, how do I want to put this? Like to hear that from a woman that's a dear friend, it's actually it feels very unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah, it feels like new, and it also feels like not only that it's coming from you, but it's coming from like my higher self or my like like you've touched an inner knowing
Mhm.
within me.
Mhm.
But I hear it coming from you, and I also hear it coming from me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So it sounds like it felt good.
Yes,
Yeah.
it felt good. And I had to question that because I'm like, am I making that up? But I'm just, nope, I'm going with my intuition, with my felt sense.
Yeah.
Because I also do feel like an old version of me would feel like, oh, I don't believe that, or I don't want to receive that, or I don't know how to. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, like a skeptical part.
Right.
I'm curious about the part that flashed up with a little bit of that skepticism, and curious where you felt that.
Well, what I'm saying is like that skepticism part didn't come up, but I was
Okay.
looking for it.
Oh, interesting.
I was like, wait,
Yeah.
nobody's here. They're not here anymore. And that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So,
cool and unfamiliar, but it's
mhm.
good, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it feels like there's been an integration,
Yeah.
you know, of
Uh,
that part that was just doing its job to try to protect me
mhm.
from
Mhm.
disappointment or hurt or failure,
Mhm.
abandonment, even, is like kind of not needing to do its normal job anymore, which is
Yeah,
really big to like even say and own in this moment
totally.
with everyone here.
That's huge. No, that's absolutely huge.
Yeah.
I think that's also a testament to how much growth and self-work you've put in to be
Mm.
able to receive that. And one of the reasons why I think success is such an interesting topic to me is that from the outset, we believe that success is something that we can naturally and organically expand into. But what you're saying about this old map that you had around, I'm not able to take success in, or I don't know what that's like, or that somehow success can be a threat in some way,
Mhm.
I think is very real for a lot of people, and certainly something that has been very real for me that I've also had to really sit with and ask, why why is there a part of me that sometimes codes success as really difficult to hold or threatening or unfamiliar or just really hard to take in?
Mm.
And I think that there is not just, to take in success, it's not just about changing the thought or changing the belief, but there is, I think, a somatic capacity that
Mm.
that needs to be cultivated and developed in order to really hold the success that comes our way. And we all have our own successes, small or big successes, but I find that sudden success or really significant success can be really scary.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so that's what I'm really interested in, and curious what that sparks in you as you hear me talk.
I definitely feel like it's a very normal thing to fear success. Um, and one thing that's showing up for me as you brought up the word capacity is that something that I've been sitting with lately is I feel like one way to build capacity and holding success is actually beginning to discover and explore who you are, full spectrum. Because I feel like once you actually know who you are, shadows and light and gifts and weaknesses and strengths and all of that, then at least there's a confidence in knowing, like, there's kind of an acceptance that can come. And there's a confidence in oneself that you can say, oh, yeah, like, I know I'm good at this, or I know I have trouble here, or I know I'm still growing in this area. And yet I'm still embracing and accepting myself exactly where I am. And that's giving me this sense of, I would say, a foundation where that capacity can root down deep and grow into. And I really do feel like capacity comes from having a deep sense of knowing who you are. And it doesn't mean like know who I am on a big existential macro level, but really like being really intimate with yourself and really honest with yourself. And from there, like so much opportunity can come from being able to, I would say, invite in anything that is here to walk you towards that path of success. So that's what's been brought up in me, and I'm very surprised by the answer too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I love that. Trust the emergence.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, what I hear in that and what I sense in what you're saying about accepting who you are and really knowing who you are, like the felt sense that gets evoked in me is that by doing that, you're sort of stepping into a natural kind of relaxation. When you know who you are, you can finally rest in who you are. You're open enough to actually let things in and not only letting in failures, but also letting in success. And that when you don't know who you are, or when you're confused, or when you're fighting against parts of yourself, I'm almost immediately thinking about a tense body, and a contracted body. And there's a difference in feel there where you have a relaxed open body and a contracted tense body. And it's like, which body is more equipped to receive success? It is that relaxed open body, not the body that's constantly scanning for threat or for something that's wrong, or so that's what gets evoked for me when I hear you talk about knowing yourself is a path to opening yourself up to success, because you just, through that process, you integrate into being a much more relaxed, open person.
Yeah, an authentic person that doesn't have to wear a mask or have to hide behind a mask in order to receive success or validation or worthiness or whatever it is that the story is created behind why you're wearing the mask in the first place. And like that authentic power, that authentic energy can shine so much more brighter when you are in that state of, oh yeah, I'm just going to allow myself to fully be me without needing to perform or put on a false version of myself. And I feel like on an energetic level, that just speaks so much louder than someone trying to pretend to be someone that they're not in order to get validation. And I'm not saying like there's anything wrong with that, because I'm guilty of that, and it's all very subconscious usually. But I think that relaxed, confident, it's almost like this self-assuredness that can come forward. And there's not much also needing to think about what to say or how to act. There's a natural quality that comes through, and I think people can really feel that.
I'm wondering about those times when success often comes with more pressure, expectation, responsibility. Do you see acceptance of self or knowing self still as a good, or as sort of the salve to those things, if that makes sense?
I feel like part of knowing myself and oneself is also knowing about your values and connecting to those with everything that you are, quote unquote, responsible for or creating or bringing out into the world. And I feel like knowing your values can be such a vital blueprint or compass to then be able to see, like, say you are creating a business or writing a book or a podcast. And if your values are compassion and respect and responsibility and integrity, and you notice at moments that you go outside of those lines, you don't have to shame yourself or judge yourself. You can also just look at, oh, this is where I have to grow. And this is where the opportunity of success can then expand. It's like, oh, the more I actually see where maybe I'm not fully aligned with my values, tells me where the opportunity of success lies ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how about you with that?
Yeah, I think what comes to me is, I think in sort of a similar vein, I think values are absolutely important as just anchors for ourselves when we get activated around anything, really. Could be success or it could be something else. But I think values are incredibly, they're a resource for us when things get hard or when things get noisy and busy. When it comes to success, where my mind goes to is oftentimes it's an opportunity to kind of examine what are our core beliefs around success. So you were mentioning this in what you were saying earlier, but we do have these stories or narratives around success. And I feel like many of us put ceilings around what we're allowed to have or who we're allowed to be. And that can stem from childhood experiences where being too good or being seen or being visible meant abandonment or criticism. And so we just learn to not expect a lot for ourselves. And so those are the core beliefs that I think really get invited in for us to look at and examine whenever we're hitting an edge with success. Like I, for example, the other week I launched my somatic coaching practice and I was inviting in founding clients. And within about a week, I had about 6 inquiries. And there was a moment in that where I was feeling a little bit of my own personal squeeze around that, where my mind was sort of traveling out far into the future and just being like, oh, yeah, well, what if? What if I actually have 6 clients to work with? And that being the best possible scenario. And, I think a normal person would be like, "Oh my God, that's so exciting. Congratulations. That's amazing that you have this amount of interest coming in." But where it took me initially was, "Oh man, well now I really have to step up and be this person and have that responsibility." And there was this pressure and expectation, really more self-imposed. But again, these stories of, well, now you have to be a lot more than what you already are in order to keep that success or build on that success and do more with that success. And so sometimes experiencing something good can bring on the burden of, well, I gotta now be more to keep that. You know what I mean?
Totally. And what's coming to me with your answer, which is kind of what we've already talked about, is that like I totally see where that story is coming from. And I'd imagine, based on your history, that has shown up because of an experience that you went through or, the family system that you grew up in. And one thing that I just, can't help but share is like I've been doing, healing arts work now, having my own private practice for over 5 years, and it's an immense responsibility that makes me continue to show up for myself and know myself and tend to my wounds in a way that a little bit of pressure is actually really helpful. That type of responsibility can kind of lay a little fire underneath us to say, hey, yeah, this is serious. You are stepping into holding space for people's big emotions and all the things. And so I think that level is actually really important. And it's like, well, how are you integrating that? Are you telling yourself, like you said, now I have to do more, be more? Or is it actually now how can I just come back over and over again to these anchors or these pillars or these values
Yeah.
that much greater on a day-to-day basis? And that's kind of like, ooh, I have the chills. That's where I feel like that story can pivot of, oh, well, actually I have these anchors and pillars that I can rely on. I don't not necessarily have to be anything else other than who I already am. I just have to lean on those just a little bit more to guide me through.
I mean, it's finding the thing that's bigger than that story or the voice of fear. And I think that's a big part of integration, is working with those parts and staying with those parts and being in dialogue with those parts. And that this part of me that feels a little bit of that squeeze, it's, I don't need to see that as a threat, right? It's just signaling.
It's just wisdom.
Yeah. And it's just signaling that something about this is really important to me.
Exactly. Right.
And so as I've really been sitting with that this week, I've been feeling, I would say that some of that squeeze and some of that contraction definitely has loosened up a bit. So back to what we were saying earlier about there is more relaxation and openness here to really take in the fact that people have expressed interest. People are interested in my offering. And that it's okay to be in that visibility.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I'm really learning with success in particular, and really allowing ourselves to take in success, is to rewrite that story that visibility means that I lose love or connection. Visibility is so vulnerable. And so if I'm truly being seen, are people going to leave me? Are they going to abandon? Are they going to determine that it's not worth their time? So I think a big part of my relationship to success is rewiring that story around visibility, and that visibility doesn't always mean disconnection or abandonment or criticism. It just means that I am someone with something that is worth paying attention to.
I love that. And I love that there's this stepping into that and learning how to embody that more and more. I think for the both of us, we started this podcast to practice being vulnerable and visible. And so far it's great training.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to also mention, which is another layer to the piece of, and if you being visible does lead to abandonment, criticism, judgment, friends leaving you, all the above, that you've still got you. End of the world is actually not happening because you've built enough resourcefulness in yourself to hold yourself through any, and if all of that, if that were to ever happen. And you've cultivated resources with your unseen forces and your partner and your friends that really are here to celebrate and support you.
Yeah.
And so I feel like even that layer is really important, because honestly, what I see a lot, and I'll just speak about this specifically to women get trashed all over the internet, way more than men, I feel like. And I'm just saying this is what is in my feed and my daily social media thing around this woman, how dare she, and I'm not to say that like none of it is true or valid, but I also think that like a woman in power does draw just as much negative attention to her as much a positive, even more so, because there is a greater threat to a woman being in their power.
Totally.
For me, what I've had to do is like, as I'm reading, the Threads script and the Instagram script and the Substack script of all these comments about these women that I actually think are impacting the world in a positive way, is to actually say, if I were to be as big as them one day, I might have to deal with that.
Absolutely.
And can I hold myself can I hold capacity for that? Can I not wave off the center of myself despite what other people think?
Totally.
And oh my gosh, like kudos to all of both men and women and everybody in the world that plays big in a human way, because it does take risk, it does take courage, and it takes a sense of, I would say, audacity to really put yourself out there. So, yeah.
And I think that is 100% a natural consequence of being big, is that you're just going to invite in a lot of opinion and judgment. Also,
Right.
celebration and admiration. Like, it's going to be all the things. And there is something about, similar to what we've touched on, about staying anchored and staying really centered and having the tools to kind of regulate yourself and still connect back to who you know you are at the center of it all, to remember what you're here for, what your message is, what you're here to share and spread and celebrate in your most authentic way. It's finding the thing that is bigger than all of the fears, all of the doubt. Doesn't mean that they need to be completely fixed or eliminated. It's just they're just getting a smaller slice of the play, right?
Yeah, and I'll say anytime I've done something really big, even though I know it was my intuitive soul heart calling, there was always fear there because it meant that I was doing something important. So if you were about to sign up for, I don't know, going across the world to travel on your own, or a, coaching program or something, I'm just making this up. I just got accepted into an MFA level memoir program that, oh my God, I applied and I was like waiting, checking my inbox every day. Did I get it? Did I get it? And then I got it and I was like, oh shit, I got it, I'm like, wait, am I sure I want to do this? Or am I sure I have the energy? Am I sure I have the capacity? And all those mind stories were just, oh my God, I just saw it as they were. And I'm just like, girl, you want this.
Yeah.
Put the credit card down, trust the universe. And oh my gosh, it's been so life-changing, and it's gotten me way further than I could get on my own. And I'm learning so much, and it's so much fun, and it's amazing. And I'm so glad that heart coherence is what I was listening to, no matter all the other stories that was trying to protect me from taking a really big leap of faith. I mean, it was not a small investment. I'm doing 10 to 15 hours of homework a day. Like, it's a big commitment, but I'm making my life work to show up for it, and because it matters.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't confuse fear with you're not supposed to do something.
Totally. And it brings up a distinction that I have around, there's discomfort that shrinks, that contracts you, that makes you small, and there's discomfort that is meant to stretch, and both are uncomfortable. But what you're talking about with the heart coherence and the fear really being a signal that the soul is leaping ahead, that it knows what you need to grow and to expand, that's the discomfort that stretches, right? And it's not going to feel good, but you're also taking so much away from it, and you are expanding your capacity. Like, that's where we're feeling that stretch, is we're being taken to the edge of our capacity. And now it's like we have to go a little bit further to integrate what's unfamiliar to us, And so growth is always going to put us at the edge of what's unfamiliar. The other thought that comes up for me is also really taking the time to enjoy the journey and celebrate. So going back to the importance of not just taking in success or acknowledging it, but really savoring it, right? And not just letting it pass through you, but being in it, like really receiving it, and even just building that felt sense of what it feels like and how good it feels and what else it really evokes in you and sparks in you. And it can be a really healthy resource for us.
Yeah.
And I think for some of us, it can be really easy to kind of like move on to the next thing and, you know, get to our next success or get to our next milestone. And I feel like what usually happens at the end of it all is you're like, oh yeah, did anything good happen? Was I successful at anything? And so there's something really important about taking as much time as you can, like building it into your bones.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I think so many people don't even know how they would want to define success, because I feel like that definition of success has been brought on by conditioning and this perceived idea of what it actually means. And like, to be honest with you, I feel like any ounce of success is based on you at least trying something new, trying something different, trying something uncomfortable, just giving it a try. Even if it was a complete wash, even if it didn't go the way that you expected, wonderful. Then you get to learn something. And I'm a business owner, so I like to learn about successful people in business, and I, listen to all these podcasts and stuff like that. But most of the thing that I hear from any successful business person is that they made a lot of mistakes, but they kept going. Persistency is like the way to essentially make you stand out among the rest, because a lot of people give up after a failure a time or two, and they think that is a means of giving up. But what if you took that and learned from it and then applied something different next time and see what happens? And it's funny because last night, you obviously know this, I led my first master class online, and I ended the call. I called my assistant, and she's like, "Oh my God, that went so good." And even though I knew that it did, I went, "Oh, it did?" Like, it's like, "Oh, really?" Like I needed to hear it again.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay, but there's this part of me that's like, "Girl, own it." I felt so good after it. It was amazing. It wasn't perfect. And yet, I think I did everything to the best of my ability, and more than I would have expected happened. And last night, I was like, okay, instead of planning the next thing, I sat at my altar, I lit a candle, and I played the guitar out of a just sheer enjoyment to celebrate myself. And I feel like an old version of me wouldn't have done that before. And I got to really acknowledge like that work that I put in so much. And then the next time I do it, it's going to feel that much more exciting, because it's like, oh, then I get to celebrate myself all over again. How fun, how playful, how beautiful. Yeah, so that's what's showing up for me when you brought that piece in, because I think it's just really, really important, especially for all of us here that I'm sure are listening, that are just so growth oriented,
Absolutely. Yeah, and what I hear in that is you did something to really stabilize that positive experience of self. And we don't often do that. We move on to the next thing, and we're always like, I think as humans, where we like to play a game of deficit. Like we're always behind, there's always more, we got to arrive. And what I really appreciate what you did with that experience is, and I think that's what success is, right? It's like, it's really any positive experience of self. Like, I think that's what success is. And what was beautiful about what you did, what you intentionally and purposely did, was, I'm not going to let this just get through, but I'm actually going to let myself stabilize this positive experience. And I think that is how we integrate these things into our bones. And the more that we do, I think that updates our identity as a whole, right? As someone who can hold success, who sees oneself as successful, and that building the foundation or the ground for which more risks, creative risk, and experimentation can be made to invite even more success, And at the end of the day, it's about thriving, right? Like, I don't think it's about financial, like, sure, for some people it could be financial, but I think when we think about success, we think about lots of money and big home and nice car. But I think it's really about thriving in the way that our souls are designed to thrive, doing the things that we love, connecting with the people that matter, and really feeling resourced and energized to keep going and to keep being in service the way that we've been put on into the world to do. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I just want to take a breath.
Yeah.
Oh,
Covered a
so
lot.
juicy. So good. I know. I love this. And I'm curious for you, like if you were talking to somebody that was like in the beginning stage of something maybe really exciting, but they were nervous about it, but they knew it was for them, but they are in their head, in their mind, not sure if they should take the leap, but they know that's going to be the next thing that would be supportive for them. What would you say? What advice would you give?
Yeah. I think the first thing that comes to mind is confidence is not a prerequisite for doing what you're meant to do, for doing
Mm-hmm.
what you need to do. And I think that we often believe that that's what we need first in order to take the leap. And I actually think confidence is a total distraction. I think it's sort of an excuse to procrastinate and stay back and tell ourselves all the reasons why we're not ready. But when you really think about it, confidence doesn't actually prevent action. Like you can still do things if you're not feeling ready. Confidence comes through the doing. So it's not something that you can just automatically invoke just thinking it. Like the action is what begets the confidence. And really, it's about teaching your brain that you can survive hard things. And I think that's what really confidence is not that, oh, I think I'm really good and I think I'm brilliant and I'm smart in all these ways. I think confidence is really a way to say, I know I'm going to be okay when things get hard.
The word resilience
Yeah.
shows up.
Mm-hmm.
You need resilience.
Yeah.
And again, that's built just from being a human being in this crazy world,
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Any final thoughts or reflections arise for you?
To be honest with you, the word that I'm hearing come through, or the mantra, is like, just don't be afraid to follow your heart. And as long as you do that, like, you will feel successful. At least that's how I have adopted my way of being.
Yeah.
There can be enough.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always have to be striving for more. Like, there can also be a point where there's enough.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. I love that. And what I hear in that is taking stock of the successes that you have. Like, what is successful in your life right now? And just going through the exercise, and that you might find there's plenty of success that surrounds you. It just takes a moment to look at it from a different lens.
Yeah.
And also the heart-led piece, it's like, what a great criteria. If there was any criteria, like universal criteria for success, I think that the heart-led piece feels like it would be a good contender.
We can patent that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. This was such a rich, full conversation as always. And thank you everyone for being here and for just being in the mystery with Charley and I. And we'd love to hear what success means to you. You can comment below. You can reach out to us. We're here for you. We love you.
Yeah. Thanks for being on the journey with us.
Yeah.
All right.
Ciao.
Bye.